It is the 21st day of March 2024. I trust you're having yourself a wonderful day. It is now time to inform you what's making headlines from across the country right here on News Now on TV47, the home of untold stories. My name is George Maringa. Very delighted that you've joined us. But first, a sneak peek into what we have for you. Among the top stories making headlines at this hour, the go slow by medics across the country enters week 2 with no respite in sight. What then for ailing Kenyans? Interior CS Kithure Kindiki engages tech giant TikTok over data concerns.
With the owners of this platform, and soon we will be triangulating all the information available and making certain decisions.
Plus, the government of Kenya maps out a plan for economic stability for the next 4 years. Do we see anything to smile about?
The fourth medium-term plan, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, 2023-2027, is now officially launched.
We thank you for your patronage and choosing TV47 to inform you. I'm at George Maringa _ across the social media platforms. Let's begin. And today marked the 8th day of the doctors' strike, with doctors from Uasin Gishu County and other parts of the nation holding their demonstrations, demanding that the government ought to implement their collective bargaining agreement CBA and absorb interns, among other key grievances. While protesting in the streets of Eldoret town, the agitated doctors vowed that they will keep off the hospital corridors until the government fulfills their promises to them.
This is a lot of headway with your union. Kindly receive the brief from your union on the headway we have made so far as a county government. We as a government wata. Na sisi pia tukasema tuta. Kwa hivyo tutarudi kazi siku ambayo watafanya hayo mambo.
Away from that, Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki has now revealed that the government is already in talks with the company that owns social media platform TikTok in regard to the online safety and protection of data of Kenyans. This comes after Kenyans complained about the regulation of explicit content, saying it goes against the regulations and children are at risk of seeing such videos. Kindiki says the Committee on National Security is set to determine if the said platform will continue to be used to pass information by government officials.
The platform of TikTok is a platform that brings huge benefits for Kenya and the world. Commercial benefits, social benefits in terms of ease of communicating, but also assisting corporates and even public officials to engage with members of the public. However, besides these benefits, there are grave dangers posed by this platform and other platforms within the cyberspace. We are in active engagement with the owners of this platform, and soon we will be triangulating all the information available and making certain decisions for the interest of the country.
A Bomet court will rule on Friday on the fate of 2 suspects arrested by police for heckling during President William Ruto's rally over the weekend. The 2 suspects, Donald Kiplangat and Paul Kiprono, will remain in police custody after the prosecution said they will interfere with the case. Police are still looking for more suspects and leaders behind the heckling following a directive by Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki.
The accused were released on bond. We do release that at the police station. They were given that benefit. But after that, there have been a lot of interference. This is political interference and intimidation. There is no evidence, actual evidence, Your Honor, whether in phone recordings or through any other means, that the accused persons who are in court have actually interfered with the witnesses in this case.
By no means it's not something that I have to sit here and make a ruling. What I've given you is a procedure to enable me to go reflect on the submissions and deliver a ruling, okay? If you are not feeling well, we have the facilities, we'll be able to take you to hospital. That's what I'm expecting to hear from you. But what I've said is that I'm going to deliver. And I could have even pushed this ruling to Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. But I've said I'm going to deliver the ruling on Friday.
Now, President William Ruto has officially launched the fourth phase of the government's four-year plan to improve the economic state of the country before the year 2027. President Ruto has said the plan, in collaboration with the development plans of the country and county governments rather, will greatly empower the government's bottom-up agenda in efforts to improve the economy.
Of the Republic of Kenya. Sustainable climate action not only addresses challenges, but also presents opportunities for transitioning to a green economy. We will leverage on technology and scientific advances to stimulate economic transformation in a sustainable manner. Other infrastructural projects to be implemented during the MTP4 period include the construction of 1 million affordable housing units and the laying of 4,600 kilometers of high voltage transmission lines and 37 substations to connect an additional 2.3 million Kenyans and 30,000 public institutions to the national grid. Additionally, an extra 100,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable will be laid as part of our national fiber optic backbone infrastructure program. Already, the different actors in this space, from ICTA to Kenya Power to the Ministry of ICT, have been aligned, and we intend to deliver this. Instead of the 5-year plan we had planned, we have already found innovative ways to deliver this in the next 2 years. Access to quality and affordable healthcare remains a key priority of the government and will therefore expand the social health insurance scheme focus on the Afya Bora Mashinani model targeting 10.8 million households. We'll also digitize health services and improve health infrastructure. Already, the program has been agreed between Treasury and Ministry of Health on the digitization process, and that process has started enumerating and enlisting citizens onto the platform so that by June this year, we will be going the rollout of services under our new health infrastructure. Over 20,000 health workers will also be recruited to support the health commodities supply chain. We all know that KEMSA has always been a thorn in the flesh, if I may say. But we have taken steps to make sure that not only KEMSA is digitized, but professionalized, and we are giving them additional staff because health commodities are a big part of the delivery of our universal health program.
Now, former Nairobi Provincial Commissioner Davis Nathan Chelogoi will be held in remand for 4 days while the court decides whether to give him bail in regard to 1.3 billion shillings land fraud case. Chelogoi has before disregarded court orders and ignored 4 arrest warrants that were previously issued for him. In the first count, he is charged with defrauding businessman Ashok Rupshi Shah and Hitan Kumar Amitral Raja of a parcel of land measuring 18 acres situated in Lower Kabete Road, valued at 1.3 billion shillings. The prosecution rather informed the court that Chelogoi had forged a title certificate and a letter of allotment dated January 31st, 1995. Trial Magistrate Dolphin Alego said that she will deliver a ruling on Monday next week.
From the time the charges, the accused person was called to court, he has not been in good health. I have supplied none to show that the accused person was on a flight risk. A record, his health record from Nairobi Hospital, where he has been attended to by Dr. Mwela Namasaka severally. And the first time this matter was called to court, the accused person had traveled to Uganda.
But I will definitely give a ruling on the 25th of March about the bond and bail. As to where he is going to be taken, I will not want to delve in that. And why I don't want to mention that, because this case already is building a history.
Now, unpredictable weather patterns being witnessed lately have been blamed for low production of flowers and disruption of the natural blooming cycles of the crop, a situation that could edge out of business thousands of people who depend on the industry for economic survival. The erratic weather that is caused by climate change has also been blamed for inability by many flower farms to control diseases such as botrytis, powdery mildew, sooty mold and root rot, which have cost them huge losses, with the European Union seeking to reduce the use and risk of chemical pesticides as well as the use of more hazardous pesticides by 50% by 2030. Players in the flower industry are concerned that the business is becoming an unattractive venture as they are unable to organically control pests.
We are making substantially less than we used to in the past due to the low selling prices, as well as trade has become much harder because of the interceptions at JKIA due to KEFIS's increasing their sampling, as well as their stance on how to control the FCM pest. So we do believe that the government needs to improve that, and as well as now with the new implementation from KEFIS for their farm inspections, I do think that's something that should be supported by the government rather than them asking for. Now you can imagine every time when they do come here, it costs the farm about 50,000 shillings for some consultancy on how to improve our biosecurity.
Tulikuwa tunaomba serikali kama inaweza tupunguzia bei ya fertilizer ambayo hasa tunatumia kwa maua, vile waliweza kupunguza kama ambayo ilikuwa inatumiwa kwa mahindi. Sisi tunatumia mara mingi hii the slow release ambayo inakaa kwa mchanga zaidi, si kama hii ya mahindi wa muda mchache. Wangeweza kutupunguzia pia hiyo na dawa pia ambazo zinatumika kwa maua, tungeweza kushukuru sana.
Now, ecopreneur Kalua Green has challenged the government to be more serious with the call to plant trees across the country if it is to reach its target of 15 billion trees by 2032. According to Kalua Green, it is unfortunate that the country has not consistently heeded to the calls for tree planting, even after millions of shillings were used in hiring choppers for ministries to plant trees, yet such funds would have been used to maintain trees and also purchase more trees. Consequently, through his Green Africa Foundation, Kalua has called for the adoption of, quote, a plant your age campaign, which generally sees more trees planted as a benefit. The Green Africa Foundation says one of the benefits of tree planting is soil improvement.
We have complicated the subject of environmental conservation by use of very heavy words, by activities that look and seem to be extremely expensive. When we go to grow trees with helicopters, when we make very big events around tree growing, people kind of deject or detest that process and imagine that it must be very complicated. Yet we can be very innovative in ensuring that there is the marriage between trees and forestry and the livelihoods of the people and the conservation process, so that people can be able to understand what it all means. There needs to be good and practical innovation around agroforestry, so that we are training the communities in a very practical way about how they can grow trees around their homesteads, the land use processes, the growing trees amongst the animals that you have at home, so that the result is very clear of improving the soil, because we are losing our soil.
Now, Kenya Power recently initiated a project to upgrade some electricity meters known as tokens to ensure their continued functionality beyond the deadline of November 24th. Kenya Power customers are encouraged to cooperate with the teams tasked with identifying and upgrading these meters, as they will cease to function after the specified period if not refurbished to meet the new standards. However, KPLC employees will be required to carry and display their official work IDs to prevent cases of fraud and deception during the meter replacement process. Speaking to the media in Mombasa, the Coast Region Manager of KPLC, Phineas Marete, announced the discovery of illegal electricity connections, considering the significant health risks associated with such connections. Furthermore, Kenya Power customers are advised against making electricity payments outside the official KPLC payment number. Several individuals have already been apprehended for defrauding customers.
We have a project we are calling Token Identifier, which we have recently launched, and the project is about updating of the firmware on some selected meters, so that they will continue vending beyond the deadline which has been put at November 24th. So for them to continue purchasing tokens, our teams will be going around to the customers to update the firmware so that those meters are able to vend beyond that. Well, that's a good question, but our staff who will be involved with that project, they will definitely be required to carry their identification badges so that customers are able to identify them as KPLC staff. In addition, we will be moving around with the local administration so that in case there are issues to do with people masquerading as KPLC staff, they are quickly identified. So we are working hand in hand with security agencies and the local administration. Yes, in the Coast region, we didn't have a major challenge with transformer vandalism, unlike other regions within the country. In the whole of the financial year, we have lost around 4 transformers in the 6 counties of the coast. That could be valued at approximately 4 million. In terms of illegal connections, yes, there are illegal connections. Some of them constructed by unscrupulous contractors. If not standard, then we demolish. We demolish those illegal structures because they pose a safety concern to the members of the public.
Now, an advocate of the High Court, Elkanah Mogaka, now asserts that Ruto's Affordable Housing Act of 2023 has effectively addressed most of the pertinent issues raised by the court. He acknowledges that while the act may have encountered numerous challenges prior to its implementation, he advises Kenya Kwanza to establish a functional framework to ensure proper utilization of the allocated funds. Mogaka emphasizes that Ruto's initiative has met the threshold, he asserts, and also asserts rather that Ruto should prioritize equality.
So the housing levy, as it is now, mostly complies with what the court had directed be done by government before a housing levy can be passed. When the courts considered the Levy Act illegal last year, the 3-judge bench found that a lot of the legal frameworks brought about by Article 10 of the Constitution were not followed. The government took various steps in the past 10 months of a calendar year to have these corrected. First and key most among these was the public participation aspect. The previous law, once passed, was not inclusive of public participation. People had not been told what the housing levy was and what the housing levy was going to do. That has been done this time around. Further to that, there was payments being made by the employers straight to the housing finance account. This was found to be illegal as there was no board that had been appointed to deal with these funds once they were allocated. So this time around, the money is being paid into a fund and a board has been appointed to deal with all this.
Now, a lobby group indicated that the signing of the Affordable Housing Bill into law is a game changer for millions of Kenyans living in rural areas who for years have been living in informal structures but have now been handed an opportunity to own decent homes as internally displaced persons laud the move by President William Ruto. Chichi Josephine with more on that.
Our USG.
A day after President William Ruto assented to the Affordable Housing Act of 2023, we continue to witness mixed reactions from Kenyans. The Kenya Internally Displaced Persons Organization, KIDPO, has observed that inclusion of Kenyans in the informal sector and others not salaried who will pay a 1.5% turnover under the new law widens the bracket of beneficiaries including previously internally displaced persons.
Koti iliweza kusema kuwa ule mpango uende mpaka mashinani, kwa hivyo mpaka kwa locations. So kwa sababu tuko na mashamba zetu ambazo ziko katika zile locations, kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali katika migao yote ya pesa, that is budgetary allocation itakayopitishwa, tunaomba serikali iweke mgao wa pesa ambazo zitaweza kutushughulikia katika mpango wetu wa resettlement.
While noting that proper attention was now being given to providing affordable housing for the poor segments of the population, KIDPO Chairman Peter Tena believes that the new law will create extensive opportunities for investment in construction and supply of building materials.
Katika miaka kama 10 ijayo, uchumi wa Kenya utakuwa ukingangana na ile uchumi wa Indonesia na the second world countries, hivi kwamba hata ajira kwa mfano ukichukua mpango ule president amekuja nao, kama zile mashamba ambazo tuko nazo, wakati umejenga zile nyumba pale, kunatokea nini pale? Kunatokea mashule, kunatokea police station, kunatokea mahospitali, kunatokea miundo misingi ambayo inawabuzo population kubwa sana ya vijana wetu wanaotoka shule.
Na tungeomba pia sisi, sababu tuna hayo mashamba ambayo serikali imetupa katika mashinani, pia nasi tukumbukwe katika upande ule, maana maisha ni shelter ambayo ni nyumba, makazi, matibabu na mavazi. Tungeomba pia nasi tukumbukwe tuwe katika ule mpangilio.
However, 6 people have since moved to the High Court in Nairobi to stop the Act's implementation, arguing that the Member of Parliament did not justify why salaried workers will be forced to pay the levy while failing to address the contribution of those who have no salary. Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Thank you, Chichi, for that. In the need to mitigate climate change in Kenya, social economic goal officials from Nagaoka University in Japan, in partnership with Mount Kenya University, planted trees to commemorate International Forest Day, which is celebrated today. According to Professor Kennedy Mutundu from Mount Kenya University, the challenge of climate crisis is one that, if nothing is done about, may contribute to a lot of challenges to humanity. His sentiments were backed up by Dr. Mami Katsumi and Professor Osamu Takahisi from Nagaoka University, who explained that most developing countries are affected by climate change. In addition, they both have advocated for innovation and modern technology to eradicate poverty and promote social economic development.
Nagaoka University is the University of Technology, And there are key things in our community that we are trying to use technology to enhance. And one of them is climate change.
The challenge of climate change is perhaps a crisis that, if nothing is done about, will contribute to, hopefully not, the end of humanity as we know it. But I think that is what we are here for, and that's what the global community is keen on ensuring that it does not happen.
Okay, I just want to mention that the first things like the innovation related to climate change. To avoid the climate change, we are not the magician, we are not the fortune teller, so we don't know what will happen next. But however, there is a two type. One is how